Did you or did you not have anything to do with the quad shooting of Tupac Shakur? Because everybody was like, Jack did that.
There's a rumor that you told Pac not to hang out with Haitian Jack, but he didn't listen.
Well, I used to told Pac, man, I say, I don't know if you, I think you're out of your league right now.
So I'm watching him with Jack, and Jack over there going, they playing Tupac, he going, Tupac, come. I'm like, I ain't go from Tupac to Tupac is your boy. Well, all the jewelry Tupac had on except managed to watch that he had on when I dropped him off at the airport, the necklace. He had everything on.
And you got some people that feel like he was behind the Quad Studios situation too.
I mean, you know, basically hating on Pac, bro. You know what I mean? They, you know, niggas was hating on Pac, bro.
Is it any truth to the rumor involving what Tupac had mentioned on the Machiavelli album and him saying that Haitian Jack had set him up, implying that? Is there any truth to that from your understanding?
No doubt. You know what I'm saying? Because it all made sense.
Haitian Jack's name might not ring out in the music industry the way it used to, but back in the day, his reputation was something else. Known as one of the most notorious and feared figures in both the streets and the entertainment world, Jack had a mix of influence and infamy that few could match. But aside from that, he was also considered one of the most hated people in the rap world during the 90s. Why? Well, a lot of it circles back to his alleged role in some of the most controversial moments in Tupac's life. One of the biggest accusations is that many believe Haitian Jack was behind the infamous Quad Studios shooting, where Tupac was ambushed and nearly offed.
Did you or did you not have anything to do with the quad shooting of Tupac Shakur? Because everybody was like, Jack did that.
Even Pac himself seemed convinced Jack played a part in it. There were even rumors that Jack was spotted wearing Tupac's stolen jewelry just a day after the incident.
Well, all the jewelry Tupac had on except managed to watch that he had on when I dropped him off at the airport, the necklace. He had everything on.
But it didn't stop there. Jack's name came up again in the SA case that landed Tupac in prison. Pac claimed that Jack snitched on him to save himself from doing time. In fact, on Pac's posthumous album, Machiavelli, he didn't hold back. On the track Against All Odds, Pac dropped some scathing lines calling Jack out directly. Listen while I take you back and lace this rap. A real live tale about a snitch named Haitian Jack. Knew he was working for the feds.
A real live tale about a snitch named Haitian Jack. Knew he was working for the feds.
Is it any truth to the rumor involving what Tupac had mentioned on the Machiavelli album and him saying that Haitian Jack had set him up, implying that? Is there any truth to that from your understanding?
No doubt. You know what I'm saying? Because it all made sense.
Their relationship was beyond repair after that, and things only got messier. Jack's influence didn't just affect his ties with Pac. There's talk that he was the reason Tupac and Biggie started drifting apart. Apparently, Biggie had warned Pac to steer clear of Jack, saying he was nothing but trouble. Even Mike Tyson reportedly told Pac the same thing, but Pac didn't listen, thinking he could handle it.
There's a rumor that you told Pac not to hang out with Haitian Jack, but he didn't listen.
Well, I used to told Pac, man, I say, I don't know if you, I think you're out of your league right now.
There's so much more to unravel, so let's dive in deeper. Now, for those who don't know, Haitian Jack is one of those names that carries weight in both the rap industry and the streets. Known as a music executive, promoter, and someone with a colorful past as a convicted felon, Jack wasn't just any ordinary player in the game. His reputation for being connected and having influence was unmatched. He even worked with icons like Madonna and others in the industry. But Jack wasn't just about music. He was the guy you called when you needed muscle or things handled. In the world of rap and nightlife, Haitian Jack was a name that everyone respected or feared. By the early 90s, Jack had established himself as a well-known figure in New York. He was deep in the nightlife scene, rubbing shoulders with athletes, entertainers, party promoters, and DJs who all knew the deal. If you were moving in those circles, chances were you'd cross paths with Haitian Jack. And that's exactly what happened when he met Tupac Shakur in 1993. At the time, Tupac was already building his reputation as one of the most controversial and outspoken figures in hip-hop. His life seemed to attract drama like a magnet, and by the time he and Jack linked up, both of their names were buzzing in very different ways. Tupac's rise to fame was anything but smooth. Long before he and Jack crossed paths, Pac was no stranger to controversy. For example, he had sued the Oakland Police Department for $10 million after being roughed up by two officers over a jaywalking incident, a case that only added to his rebellious image. Then there was the infamous moment when Vice President Dan Quayle publicly called for his debut album, album Tupacalypse Now to be banned. This came after the album was cited in a Emder trial, with the defense claiming it inspired Ronald Ray Howard to off a Texas state trooper. That wasn't all. In April 1993, Pac was charged with after swinging a baseball bat at a rapper during a concert in Michigan. Just a few months later, he went on Yo MTV Raps and admitted to beating up the directors of Menace II Society, Albert and Alan Hughes. That little confession earned him 15 days in jail.
I beat up the directors to Menace to Society. Let me tell the whole world.
All right, tell them how you did what you had to
These
do.
chump, punk, slump, you know what I'm saying? They fired me, but did it in a roundabout punk snitch way. So I caught them on the streets and beat they behind. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was a menace to these brothers.
In 1993, Tupac was in New York working on the cult classic Above the Rim, where he played Birdie, a flashy, charismatic gangster who ruled through fear, a character that eerily mirrored someone like Haitian Jack. For Tupac, this role wasn't a huge stretch. He had grown up surrounded by the harsh realities of ghetto life. His mother's struggles with crack addiction had strained their bond. His father was absent, and the figures he looked up to weren't community leaders or role models. They were the drug dealers, PIMPs, and hustlers who dominated the streets. When Tupac met Haitian Jack, it was like stepping into a masterclass on the politics of street life. Jack wasn't just a street figure, he was a legend in his own right. Known for his swagger, influence, and connections, he represented everything Tupac had seen in his environment, but on a larger, more polished scale.
When me and Tupac met, he was doing a movie, Above the Rim, and I didn't know it at the time, but he was studying me for the role that he was playing in this movie.
Years later, during a landmark interview from Rikers Island, Tupac admitted that Jack had introduced him to a lifestyle he had only glimpsed before. "I used to dress in baggies and sneakers. They took me shopping. That's when I bought my Rolex and all my jewels," Tupac recalled. "They made me mature. They introduced me to all these gangsters in Brooklyn."
I used to tell him, look, man, you can't walk around here with your pants hanging off, homie. Let me get you something real, change up your gear a little bit, man. Pac and Armani, Dolce & Gabbana. You know, I bought him a Rolex.
Jack, for his part, remembered those moments fondly. On Hip Hop Uncovered, he shared a story about Tupac's admiration for him, saying, "One day, Shakur said to me, 'I'm glad I met you when I did because it really helped with that character I was working on.' Then I said, 'You got something for me?' He was like, 'Yeah, man, just your swagger, the way you handle yourself, how everybody's always around you. That was important for me to see that happens, that people gravitate to a gangster.'
One day he said to me, 'I'm glad I met you when I did, because it really helped me with that character I was working on.' I said, 'You got something for me?' He's like, 'Yeah, man, you know, just your swagger, the way you handle yourself and how everybody's always around you. That was important for me to see that.'"
Their dynamic was like a mentor and protege, with Jack guiding Tupac through the unspoken rules of the streets. But that relationship, built on camaraderie and respect, came crashing down in November 1993, during an incident that would haunt Tupac for the rest of his life. It all went down on the night of November 18th, just before Thanksgiving. Tupac, Haitian Jack, and others were charged with S.A.ing a 19-year-old named Ayanna Jackson in Tupac's hotel room on the 38th floor of the Parker Meridian Hotel. Jackson first met Tupac at the Manhattan nightclub Nell's, where they had consensual S. A few nights later, Jack mentioned to Tupac that Jackson was coming over again. According to Tupac, the night started like any other. Jack was playing host, making drinks for everyone. Even Biggie Smalls was there briefly, waiting to accompany Tupac to a show in New Jersey, though he left shortly after Jackson arrived. Things took a dark turn, though, after Jackson and Tupac went to his bedroom. Jackson later alleged that while she and Tupac were alone, other men entered the room and assaulted her. Tupac, however, claimed that when the group entered, he felt uneasy and left. He said he spoke with his publicist in another room before feeling groggy and falling asleep. When he woke up, he was confronted by Jackson, who accused him of allowing the attack to happen. The fallout was catastrophic. The accusations led to criminal charges for everyone involved, including Tupac and Haitian Jack. But instead of facing the charges together as Jack expected, Tupac's legal team began to paint Jack as the mastermind behind the situation. This marked a turning point in their relationship. On Hip Hop Uncovered, Jack expressed his frustration not just with the situation but with Tupac's reaction. "Pac was all good when I was doing things for him, until we caught that punk case that easily could have been beaten by both of us," Jack said. "He let his attorneys turn him against me. And that's the part I'll never forgive him for because I'm ride or die with you, homie. I expect you to do the same. See, that's what I call a fair weather friend."
Pac was all good when I was doing good things to him, until we caught that punk case that was easily could have been beaten by both of us. He let his attorneys turn him against me. And that's the part that I'll never forgive him for, because I'm gonna ride or die with you, homie. I expect you to do the same.
One of rap history's biggest enigmas is figuring out what really happened on that fateful night in 1993. While it's clear that Ayanna Jackson was a the specifics remain shrouded in controversy. Tupac and his road manager Charles Fuller were ultimately convicted of first-degree SA, and the fallout from that conviction would leave a permanent stain on Tupac's career. At his sentencing in February 1995, Tupac stood before the court and delivered an apology to Ayanna Jackson, yet he remained firm in his stance that he was not guilty of the crime. Even though I'm innocent of the charge they gave me, I'm not innocent in terms of the way I was acting, Tupac admitted. I don't know if she's with these dudes or if she's mad at me for not protecting her, but I know I feel ashamed because I wanted to be accepted and because I didn't want any harm done to me. I didn't say anything. This incident left a profound impact on Tupac, both personally and professionally. The media had a field day with the story, painting him as a villain. For Tupac, the fear of being permanently labeled a haunted him deeply, a shadow he felt would follow him forever. The regret he expressed wasn't just about the incident itself, but also about how he'd allowed himself to get caught up in a lifestyle and circle that put him in that position. Throughout 1994, Tupac dedicated much of his energy to proclaiming his innocence. He spoke out vehemently, in interviews and public statements, trying to clear his name. One of the most emotional moments came on November 29th, during a fiery interview where Tupac once again declared his innocence and expressed his frustration with the legal process. He was particularly upset about the fact that his case was being tried separately, despite not being the only person charged that night.
I go to jail for a crime everybody know I did not commit, get shot 5 times, and I'm getting in jail, wompty, wompty. They just say anything to assassinate my character.
Amid this turmoil, Tupac's relationship with Haitian Jack fell apart completely. The strain began with the incident itself, but escalated as Tupac started speaking out against Jack in the media. Tupac labeled Jack as a hanger-on, someone who thrived on being close to fame but brought nothing but trouble. This bitterness and resentment were evident in Tupac's tone whenever he discussed the case. Even before this fallout, many people in Tupac's circle had warned him about Jack. Boxer Mike Tyson, a friend and mentor to Tupac, had cautioned him that he was out of his league, hanging around someone like Haitian Jack.
There's a rumor that you told Pac not to hang out with Haitian Jack, but he didn't listen.
Well, I told Pac, man, I think you're out of your league right now.
Biggie Smalls had also warned Tupac about the street guys he was getting too close to, particularly Haitian Jack. But Tupac, being the fearless and headstrong individual he was, didn't take the advice seriously. This decision not only put him in dangerous situations, but also strained his friendship with Biggie, a relationship that had started with so much promise and camaraderie. Back when Tupac and Biggie first met, their bond was genuine. Some say they connected on the set of Poetic Justice, where Tupac was blasting Biggie's track Party and Bullish on repeat. For Biggie, who was still a relatively unknown artist at the time, having Tupac, a major star, vibe with his music was a huge deal. It was like an unspoken cosign, and Biggie never forgot it. Their friendship quickly blossomed. Biggie would stay at Tupac's house in Los Angeles whenever he visited from New York. Tupac would send him bottles of Hennessy and even offer advice on navigating the industry. They had a brotherly relationship, and their respect for each other extended to the stage. The two would freestyle together, with one memorable performance taking place at Madison Square Garden. At this point, Tupac was a platinum-selling rapper and a rising movie star, while Biggie was still trying to make a name for himself in the industry. Biggie, admiring Tupac's success and work ethic, once even asked him to take over as his manager. Tupac, however, advised Biggie to stick with Puff Daddy, assuring him that Puff would eventually make him a star. Tupac's words proved prophetic, but their friendship wouldn't survive the escalating tension that followed. Many believe Tupac's association with Haitian Jack was one of the catalysts that drove a wedge between him and Biggie. People close to Tupac repeatedly warned him about Jack's reputation, but he didn't listen. Jack's name alone carried weight, and not in a good way. Born in Haiti in 1963, Jack came from a family with significant political connections. At the time, Haiti was under the brutal regime of President Jean-Claude Baby Doc Duvalier, a dictator known for his oppressive rule. The Duvalier regime was infamous for its violence, with thousands of Haitians tortured, mistreated, and offed. Many fled the country, seeking refuge in the United States during the 1970s and 1980s. Jack's family, however, had been on the privileged side of this regime. They lived comfortably under Duvalier's rule, with positions of power and influence. But when Duvalier was overthrown in 1986, everything changed. The family's privilege disappeared overnight, and the tables turned on them. Fearing for their safety, Duvalier fled to France, while Jack's family relocated to the United States, settling in Brooklyn, New York, in the Bedford-Stuyvesant neighborhood. Life in America was a sharp contrast to the privileged upbringing Jack had known in Haiti. His native tongue was French, and when he arrived in the US, he spoke no English. This made him an easy target for bullies at school, and he was mercilessly picked on by other kids. They would chase him home after school, making life miserable for the young Jack. Adjusting to this new environment was tough, but Jack wasn't one to back down. Determined to survive, he quickly picked up the English language and began to adapt. Over time, he started earning respect from his peers, but it came at a cost. Many of the kids who accepted him were involved in illegal activities, and Jack soon found himself following their lead. To him, being part of this crowd was far better than being bullied. The tougher and more reckless he became, the more he was embraced. By the late 1980s and early 1990s, New York was in the grip of the crack epidemic. The streets were chaotic, with drug dealers fighting for control and money. As a teenager, Jack got involved in various criminal activities. He began robbing local drug dealers and even formed a robbery crew that some referred to as the Black Mafia. One of his close associates was Walter King Tut Johnson, another infamous figure from Brooklyn. Together, they operated on the fringes of both the streets and the budding hip-hop scene. Eventually, Jack opened a barbershop in Queens, though many believe it was more of a front for his real income. The barbershop's location, near the Manhattan Proper Bar, gave Jack access to a different world. The Manhattan Proper Bar was a hotspot for celebrities, and Jack quickly took advantage of the connections he made there. He rubbed shoulders with big names like Mike Tyson, Shabba Ranks, Buju Banton, and even Madonna. Jack's charisma and street reputation made him a fixture in this elite circle, and his influence only grew. It was during this period that Haitian Jack and Tupac's paths finally crossed, creating what initially seemed like a dynamic pairing. Jack's calculated street smarts combined with Tupac's raw charisma and fiery personality made for a powerful, if volatile, connection. They both had larger-than-life personas that drew people to them, and together they dominated every room they entered. Jack brought Tupac deeper into the world of hustlers, gangsters, and nightlife influencers, while Tupac in turn gave Jack a front-row seat to the chaotic, drama-filled life of a rap superstar. But as we now know, their association would eventually lead to chaos, and the two never reconciled before Tupac's tragic death in 1996. Jack, on the other hand, has spent years defending himself and spinning his version of events. In more recent interviews, Jack has claimed that Tupac's fallout with him was unjustified. Jack has gone as far as to label Tupac a fair-weather friend, accusing him of abandoning their bond when it was convenient. He's tried to shift the narrative, painting himself as someone who was always in Tupac's corner, only to be betrayed by Tupac. But many fans and insiders remain skeptical of his narratives, believing that Jack may be trying to rewrite history now that Tupac isn't alive to challenge him.